Salem Village and Salem Town were different. The town was more busy, where all the action happened, and all the trading and all that. But Salem Village was on the outside of that, where the poor people, the farmers, and the more lower class people lived. These days, it's called Danvers. There was already some internal conflict between the village people and the town people at this point. The farmers and lower class people in Salem Village wanted their own church, and they wanted to be separate from Salem Town. Just like we see all through history, the lower class and the upper class didn't blend very well. Different lifestyles also lead to different theologies, obviously. People tend to adjust their religion to fit their beliefs and their perspectives, even though they're reading the same Bible. When someone else's interpretation of it doesn't match your interpretation, you'll either find a different church, or if there's not any, in this case, you'll just make your own. So Salem Village hired Reverend Samuel Parris, and he's going to be a pivotal character in all this. Before him, they didn't have their own official church. So Reverend Samuel Parris was ordained as their minister for their own church in Salem Village. But this is another main ingredient that sparked the witch trials, because Reverend Parris was a strict, hardline Puritan. A lot of the higher class people in Salem Town didn't like him, but the farmer families in Salem Village supported him. So there was already a lot of beef between families and stuff. There was disputes over land and all that type of stuff. Sam Parris, the Reverend, was a failed merchant before he was a Reverend. He showed up to Salem with his 3 kids. One of them was his niece. He had his wife and he had 2 slaves. And this is where it all starts. The slaves were a husband and wife. Some people say they were Africans, some say they were Native Americans, but what is clear from the writings is that they were darker skinned. Most historians these days say that she was a Native American woman from a Caribbean or a South American background, possibly from the Arawak people, and she was taken into Barbados from a slave owner and sold to Reverend Sam Parris there. She probably did have some practices from her culture that would have been considered witchcraft by these Puritan people already, but they turned her onto Christianity, and she was outwardly Christian at least. We don't know exactly how old she was at this point, but most historians put her in her mid to late 20s. Sam Parris's kids were younger. His youngest daughter, Susanna Parris, was 5. His older daughter, Betty Parris, was 9, and his son Thomas was 10. He also had his niece with him named Abigail Williams. She was 11 years old at the time. His daughter Betty, his niece Abigail, and the slave girl named Tituba are the main characters that sparked these witch trials.